So welcome to the 2024 Guide to the Google Ad Grant for Churches, Part 1. And so we're going to be talking this week about what the grant is and how to get it, and a little bit on how to use it. And the next week we'll talk about how to use it. And but I've got Melissa Keane with me, who is our Google grant extraordinaire, and is going to answer questions and is going to do way more talking than me because she's awesome at this. And so yeah, so we'll get started. And I'm just going to ask Melissa questions, and we'll go from there. Melissa, would you like to introduce yourself and anything like that? Now, you hate this, don't you?
I do, but that's okay. I'm Melissa, as you already let everybody know, and I am the lucky one that gets to do the Google grant for Faithworks. I love it because I've ran a nonprofit for many years, so I'm passionate about helping people, and I love that we get to help churches. And this Google grant is amazing, and I think it's a little hidden secret that most churches aren't aware about. So I'm excited to let them know and get them this free money.
Yeah. So let me say this. One, Faithworks is super fortunate to have Melissa. Melissa is really good at this and gets better by the minute, right? And I'm not just blowing smoke here. Like, I'm almost not embarrassed of how good of results we get, because I'm proud of the results that we get for the ad grant. But like, our results are so good that Melissa's getting for churches that, like, when I'm comparing our results to like just average results that you could expect from your ads, that it almost sounds a little too good to be true. So I have to like scale it back. And that's how ridiculously good. So we're super blessed to have Melissa on our team. She is awesome. And yeah, so I think you'll learn a lot from watching this video, whenever you're watching it, wherever you're watching it. And yeah, so that's the other thing, is that a lot of churches, if you're watching this and you already have the grant, then next week is for you, because today we're going to talk about how to get the grant, because a lot of churches come to us and they already have the grant, and they've been trying to manage it themselves for 3 months, and they're frustrated because they get $10,000 a month to spend, and they come and say, hey, we spent $13 last month. Please help us. We're getting frustrated. And so that's the other thing that we've gotten really good at, is helping churches who already have the grant, like, use it creatively and spend that money. So, but tune in next week. We'll be talking about that. So, but today we're going to focus on, and we're just going to start with what is the grant, because like Melissa just said, a lot of churches that we talk to just have no idea that this is out there, and that they could even get in on this, that Google would give a church any kind of grant. It kind of blows people's minds. And a lot of the churches that we talked to, they were just looking for grants in general, just looking for some help to grow, and stumbled upon this. And so either, hopefully, if you're watching this, maybe you've never heard of the grant, or you've heard of it, you're just not sure what it is, or you're just looking for any help to grow your church whatsoever. So we're going to start with, let Melissa tell us, what is the Google Ad Grant for nonprofits?
Yeah. All right. So the Google Ad Grant is really just something charitable that Google does for churches. You have to be eligible. You have to be a 501c3, but once you meet the eligibility requirements, they will give you up to $10,000 a month of ad spend. And it's just really cool because they don't have to, and they are doing it just really, truly out of the kindness of their hearts. And so, it's just can I share my screen just so I could show?
Yep, you sure can.
Let's see. I'm just not going to really go
Listen,
fully into it.
You believe in, you see the good in people, because I'm over here thinking, I wonder if they get a tax write-off for it. They probably
No, actually, I
I'm
mean, I
going to
could
give
be
them the
wrong.
benefit of the doubt, because Right.
But I think they actually don't get anything for it. At least that's what I heard. I don't know. I haven't done like a ton of research into it, but so if you've never heard of the grant, you would go to this screen right here, google.com.nonprofits.eligibility. And it's going to tell you right here who's eligible. It's going to tell you what you need. I'm not going to go through the whole thing today. And that's something that we can totally help. If you have questions and you want a step-by-step process, like we will totally help you with it. Just reach out to us. But this is what you do. You start the verification process, and then either you have it or you haven't done it yet. And once you've done this process, you have to wait, because even though they're doing this out of the kindness of their heart, Google likes to take their time. So you're going to wait. And once you're approved, then you will have the ability to have up to $10,000 a month. So that is the Google grant. Did I say that in enough like terms that made sense?
Yeah, I think so. And so this grant is to be used. It's an ad grant. And so here, this is kind of fun for me to answer because I'm the one that fields these questions. Because if you search Google ad grant for churches, or even I think if it must be, if you just search like grants for churches, you'll find us, Faithworks Marketing. And so we get calls every week, and it makes me giggle. I shouldn't. I'm not being condescending, but we get the questions like, hey, we need a new roof for our church. Can you help us get this Google grant? Or we want the Google grant because we need a new church van. It is not going to be a check. It is not money. It is an in-kind grant that is ad credit to be used to run ads on google.com. So you may not even know what a Google ad looks like. You've seen one, but maybe you didn't know that it was an ad. But whenever you search anything, whether it be a church or looking for like a roofer or something, you're going to see a set of Google results, and the tip top results usually say sponsored out beside it. And like, you want to hit like real quick, just like how these ads work and why you need a grant to pay for those types of ads, because they're a weird kind of ads. It's not like a newspaper ad. It's actually called pay per click. So you want to explain that just briefly?
So they're actually called what you get with the grant is it's a search ad. It's a text ad. And so for instance, if somebody Googles church near me, your church, hopefully, if you have the grant, is going to pop up because you will have created these campaigns that have things about your church. And so when somebody's searching it, not even necessarily your church, then an ad on Google is going to pop up. And that's what the grant is. It's paid. It's a paid like text commercial basically for your church.
And it's cutting to the front of the line. I mean, it's if you were just trying to do this with search engine optimization by not giving Google money or not getting the grant and paying, then you may start out on page 14, in 98th place, and take years literally to climb to the top. But this way I can climb to the top and cut in front of the line and show up at the top. And then when someone clicks on my ad, that's when I would pay, or that's when my grant gets deducted, right?
Right. That's exactly right.
Cool. All right. So it's not cash. They're not mailing you a check. It has to be used for the search network. So these are text ads. These are not YouTube ads. Even though Google owns YouTube, they're not photos. But I have noticed that Google has started adding some photos to some search ads. Can we do that for churches in those search ads? Can we add pictures now or no?
So Google is kind of slowly rolling it out where they pick the accounts. We wouldn't know. It would be like if a church had a Google grant, when they first got the grant, they might not be able to add pictures, but then later down the line they might. So it's something that they're starting to let, but they haven't let everybody across the board.
Gotcha. Yeah. So it's kind of like social media does that too. Like I remember when you could first start adding music to your Instagram videos, and everybody around me had it. I was like 9 months behind being able to add music to my videos, even though I was a social media guy. It was very frustrating. So it's the same deal. They'll roll it out eventually. And so yeah. All right. So a few common I thought we would hit this. A few common questions that we get about the grant. We just answered one of them. Can I buy stuff with it? Can I buy? No, you cannot. The other question that we get, so it would be, Melissa, is this grant every month? Does it end?
Yeah. So no. Once you are eligible for the grant, you don't ever have to apply again. You get the up to 10,000 every month for as long as Google is going to decide to be charitable, basically, as long as they run this program. They've been doing it for like, I want to say close to 20 years, maybe. So no, but there is a caveat in it, because it's the grant and it is technically free money. There are compliance rules that you have to stay on top of. So there's a few, and I won't get into them this week, but if you do not stay compliant, then you will lose the grant. And that's the hard thing. And you can get it back, but it's hard to get it back. So no, you don't have to reapply, but you do have to stay compliant.
So yeah, so you're talking every month, $10,000 in ad credit. You don't get rollover minutes. By the way, we do get that question. So it's not like if you only use 8,000, then next month now you've got 12,000 in the bank. It's 10,000, use it or spend it or lose it, and then it starts over the next month. And again, that's indefinitely, as long as Google continues to do the program. And there's never been any, I've never read anything that there's ever been any rumblings of Google even thinking about discontinuing it. It's been, I think it's been very successful for them. Makes them look good, helps a ton of organizations who do some really good work, helps a ton of churches who are sharing the gospel. So you definitely go for it. It's a lot of money to leave on the table. That's $120,000 a year in free advertising on Google, which, I mean, it's one of those things like, why, it's kind of dumb to say no to. So
right.
Get it. So
Yeah.
so there's another question that we get. Do we need to hire somebody like Faithworks, or can we get the grant ourselves?
So you can absolutely apply for the grant yourself. You can absolutely run it yourself, and many people do.
And I would say half the churches that come to us that we're running the grant for, they already had it. And so yeah, so it can be done. Yeah. But
absolutely. But of course there's a but. Like I had said right before, with the compliance rules there, because you have to keep a click-through rate of 5%, and keywords can't be, this is going to sound foreign to you if you don't know it. So again, like, I'm sorry, but these are some of the compliance rules, and you have to know it in order to be able to stay compliant. So that's why people like Faithworks may get hired, because we know how to make sure that you don't lose it. We know how to make sure that you spend the right amount of money. We know how to make sure that you're getting the results that you need to get. So do you have to have an agency? No. Is it often better results because you do? Yes.
Yeah, for sure. You can definitely get it yourself. The application process is kind of a pain in the rear, but it can be done. And even if you did hire us, you're going to have to participate in that. You're going to have to approve some emails. You're going to have to get some paperwork together. And so yeah, you could definitely do it yourself. And a lot of churches do. I think when it comes to getting it, and when it comes to managing it, if you're going to do it yourself, and tell me if you agree with this, I would say that you're going to need to commit some time every week. I would say you're going to need to carve out at least an hour or so, especially once you've got it. You're going to need to carve out a minimum of an hour of learning ads a week, getting on some YouTube videos and throwing yourself into it, minimum of an hour, and a minimum of an hour, and I'm way rounding down, I would say, of actually going into the ads and managing the ads and tweaking the ads. This is not a newspaper ad that you write one time, throw it out there and see what happens. You're literally going to write dozens and dozens of ads. You've got to connect them to your website, and you've got to make sure all these things are working. You've got to add keywords and negative keywords, and we'll get into those nuts and bolts next week. What my point is really, if you're going to do it and it's going to work, you're going to have to, someone's going to have to throw themselves into it. And you may have a church staff member who's just really good at this and they've got the bandwidth to do it, and then that would be awesome. But most churches, I would say, don't. And so to use it effectively, it probably would make more sense to hire that out, because you got to decide, do I want to like spend hours a week learning to become a Google grant manager? And if you do, then you probably should go to work for an agency doing that. Anyway, that's my take.
You're absolutely correct, because you cannot learn what you need to learn about the Google grant to make it successful or even keep it in just one YouTube video. Like, it does take a lot of learning. It is very intricate. It's different than the normal just paid ad. Even there's just a lot of nuts and bolts that go into it, truthfully. And I mean, I think you once said something about, what was the thing you said about taxes? That was like such a good, like you can do your own.
Yeah. You could go do, I mean, you can file your own taxes. You can fill out the paperwork. You don't have to use a tax, an accountant or anything. It's like, but do you want to learn that? Do you want to get good at filing taxes? Do you want to run the risk of, making a mistake and, you're not going to get arrested with the Google grant, but you can go to jail for not paying your taxes. So it's just, I don't have the time or the desire or the brain that can handle the math to do my own taxes. There are people who need to make a living, and I will gladly pay them to do that, because I've got things that I do want to do. And so it's the same deal. If you want to get good at the Google grant, you want to get good at Google ads, then go for it, learn it, do it well, take advantage of the money, spend Google's money on advancing the kingdom. That's great. But you just got to ask yourself, like, do I want to or do I not? And if you got other things to do, like be a pastor or be a youth pastor or be a worship pastor, whatever it is your role is at the church, then I would say there's probably a good chance that managing the Google ad does not really fit into the scope of why you went to seminary. So yeah, that's.
And the other thing is, it is very hard to spend the 10,000. And so you could manage it yourself and even stay compliant, but the percentage of people only spend about 300 a month that do that, truthfully. And that's if they spend 300 a month. So there's just like I said, there's a lot of things that you kind of got to dig deep in to know, that then help you get the right audience and help you spend that money and help people see the ads that need to see the ads that spend the money. So that's kind of a benefit of having an agency that knows all those little deep.
Yeah. And so, and honestly, even if you decide to hire an agency to run the Google ads for you, there are lots and lots of marketing agencies out there who are good at running Google ads and can be very good at running Google ads, but not very good or successful, or probably they just don't have experience with the Google grant. So I would, if you're shopping it around, I would ask the question, if you've decided to hire someone to help you out with it, to help you get it, how much experience do they have with the Google grant? And if the answer is, oh yeah, we've worked with that a couple times, then I would say that that's probably not the one for you. You really want somebody who focuses on the Google grant. And if you're, and we know this, if you're in the American church, you're in an evangelical church, the American evangelical church is a whole different beast than, and beast is probably a strong term, than any other type of organization in the United States. Even among religious organizations, it's different. So you almost need someone who knows that world. I would say you do need someone who knows that world and knows Google grants, not just Google ads, which sounds like a commercial for us. And yeah, I mean, we're good at it, and that's us. We've all got ministry experience, and we care about the church. And so, yeah, if you need help, definitely hit us up. But we're not the only ones out there. There are some other really good agencies out there. My favorite, we'll even throw their name out there. We'll even do a commercial for Reach the Lost. Those guys are incredible and love the church, and they're really good at this. So there's plenty out there like us, like them. So yeah, just find one that knows their stuff. We're going to take a quick break for a word from our sponsor. This live stream is brought to you by Diet Mountain Dew, choice of a new generation. Thanks, Mountain Dew, for sponsoring us. Probably going to get sued for that.
Yeah.
So
they do not sponsor us.
They do. I wish they would. Save me some money. Okay. So we lightly touched on this in the beginning, or maybe we covered this, but how does someone qualify? I think I think you mentioned it. But the requirements are
you have to be a 501c3. So you have to be a nonprofit, which most churches are. So that's what's amazing about this. And I think they just don't know that they have this. So you have to be a 501c3.
Can I say, and sorry to interrupt, but the 501c3 thing is a little hazy for some churches, because like I'm in Georgia, and to be a nonprofit in the state of Georgia, you don't have to go to the IRS and do all the paperwork of becoming a 501c3, because that's an IRS thing. But you can still become a charitable organization in the state of Georgia with the Secretary of State's office, and your tithes and offerings are going to be tax deductible, whether you're a 501c3 or not. So we do run into churches that, like the church I attend, we're not it's not a 501c3. So we don't have the Google grant. And then other churches, they're not sure. So you would have a letter from the IRS called a determination letter that says, here is your determination, you are a 501c3, and we're going to need, somebody's going to need to show Google that piece of paper.
You would have an EIN number, it's called, all of those things. That is what you need. And that's really it. Like, as long as you have that, then we can apply. I mean, you can't be
you got to have that. Schools, like if you're a Christian school or something, there's a separate deal for education. So you can't get this 10,000 a month for schools education, or municipalities. And then the other thing that comes up quite a bit, we do. I talked to someone this week. They're wanting to get the grant, but they don't even have a website for their church yet. They're a newer church. And so these ads have to be connected to a website, and it's got to be a good website, and it's got to be a secure website. So if you go to we've got this eligibility checker on our website, and one of the questions is, do you have an SSL secured website, which is SSL's secure socket layer. It's nerd talk for security thing. And so you've got to have that. Google's going to look for that. And so if your website's terrible, or if there is no website, you're not going to get approved. So the website piece has got to be taken care of first too. So that's the thing. So any other things? That's pretty much it. You got to have a website. You got to be a 501c3. You can't be a school.
Be a hospital. Yeah. That's it. Really. That's it.
Okay. All right, cool. So I figured out I am a 501c3. Our website's amazing. I want to get the grant for my church, and I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to do it myself. We're going to go for it. What's my first step?
So you would go to that site that I shared, and let me see. Okay. There, basically, you would go to that site, and there's going to be like, they're going to ask you. I should just pull it up. Why am I telling you? Okay, 1 second. So we go back to this screen. Now they're going to have you sign in. my,
So you're going to go to the Google
so
for
here,
and
yes, you're go to Google for nonprofits, and then what it's this right here. It's the eligibility. You'll see it, and this will tell you all the things you need to know how you're eligible. It's for not even just America; it's for other countries. You'll sign into your Google account and then get started.
you don't have a
Mine's not
Google
gonna
account, you'll need to create a Gmail address. You can do that right there. And then you are signing up for a nonprofit, a Google nonprofit account. And this is not the grant. This is just a nonprofit account to start taking the steps to prove to Google that you actually are a nonprofit so that you can get the grant. So there's a few hoops to jump through here, but this is the very first step.
Yeah, which it's not really gonna, I should have thought this through. I already have an account, so it won't let me show you. So then basically you'll click on this get started and it'll pop up a little thing that it'll tell you, make sure like that you are ready to do this. It's going to take about, I don't know, I don't know how long it tells you. And it's going to want your letter that we talked about from the IRS, or your EIN number. It's going to have you put in your, nonprofit or your church's name. And then sometimes it populates it if it can find you, or sometimes you have to submit the document. And then it'll ask you some questions. It'll want your name. It'll want the name of your church, the website, and like an email. And then you'll submit all of that. And then it'll tell you to wait 2 to 14 days, I believe. And as they're checking your eligibility. And then they're going to send you an email to whatever email you put on there. They need you to verify it. So then you're going to verify it, and then you wait for them to tell you that you've been approved. And then once you've been approved, then you go back to that screen, and it's a whole nother
You have
thing.
to activate the ad grant, and there's some other hoops to jump through. So
Yeah. Actually, I can show you that. Once you've been approved, it's going to take you to this. This is Google for nonprofits, and it'll show you, you'll have a workspace. And here's the Google ad grants. And then
which, by the way, that's so the only, yeah, it's not the only thing you get. The $10,000 is the thing everybody wants, but you also get a Google Workspace account. Which gives you, the custom domain email accounts and Google, Google Docs and storage and all that stuff, which is pretty valuable. I mean, we pay $7 per user for that. So, if you got 10 people on your team, that'll save you $70 a month if you're using Google Workspace. We haven't really, the YouTube nonprofit, we haven't really done much with that, or the Maps platform, but the workspace is cool too. So
yeah, so that's really, and then you'll have to activate it. Let me stop sharing because that's not going to help anymore. So then you'll activate it, and you'll wait another couple of days, and then that's it. Then no, it's never normally that smooth. I say like that's it, like, oh,
they could
a lot
back.
of times.
And by the way, Google uses a third party to authenticate whether or not you're to verify whether or not you're a for real nonprofit. And they've used a couple. I think the primary one they use now, it's called Percent, right? Yeah. And so you're going to get emails from Percent, and what's kind of murky about that is I don't know about you guys, but I get calls every couple of weeks from people claiming to be Google, telling me I need to fix this on Google. And, and then we get spam emails from people claiming to be Google. And so you want to be watching out for that, because I think it could blend into some other things that look like spam, but it's actually legit.
And they'll tell you on there, like when you're applying for it, check your spam and this and that. But yeah, because it is going to say from, I mean, I can't remember if Google's the first thing you see, but it's like you get an email from Google, but you also do get one from Percent. So Jonah's absolutely right. Like, you just have to know that it's not spam.
Yeah. So, so then once you activate it, then you've got it. And so then it's the time whether to decide, all right, how are we going to use this? What are we going to promote? So, and we can kind of land the plane there, because next week we're going to get into the nuts and bolts, and actually we'll share our screen and just go through a simple setup for a basic ad campaign using the grant. But just give us a little teaser. What are some of the ideas? What are some of the things that we could do with, we've got the grant now, we've jumped through all the hoops. And so what kind of stuff could we do with it?
So, especially for churches, something that's really cool is, I think how many times people who are searching for churches are Googling like church near me or events for kids. I mean, you can do now, you can target people that are looking for Christmas services, Easter services, new churches, kids programs, VBS. I mean, you name it, whatever, like there's church events, divorce groups at your church, or, ones for whatever support groups you're having. These are all things that you can now use the grant for. You can have campaigns and ad groups, and it's really awareness for your church. It's free awareness that Google is giving to you. So did that answer your question?
Yeah. I think one of the main things that we see, like when a church comes to us and they've gotten the grant, and they're frustrated because they've been spending $20 a month out of the 10,000. They're like, well, why can't we spend more? And so we'll go in and look, and typically, and this makes perfect sense. It's not like they're dumb for doing this, but they just went in and created an ad or two about, hey, we're so-and-so church in this city, come to church. We meet at 11, and left it at that. And so, you're not going to spend very much just saying come to church. So yeah, so that's where you've got to get creative with it. You've got to do some thinking. So these ads only show up when people are searching for things. There has to be intent behind it. So they've got to use words like church, or addiction recovery programs, if you offer an addiction recovery program, or free things to do with my kids at Christmas. So if you've got like a cookies with Santa Claus thing, or you've got free pictures with Santa, or you've got Christmas Eve services, which, by the way, like, now's the time to go ahead and create those ads, because when you create a Google ad set or a Google ad campaign, the algorithm has to learn, dust has to settle. So it takes a minute for those things to, pick up some traction and stuff. So if you want to promote your Christmas Eve service on Google, now's the time to start building those ads if you've got the grant. Or if you don't have the grant, then you could pay out of pocket, and it would still be worth it. You could still get a little bang for your buck, especially as a church, because the cost per click is not going to be very much. So it would be worth even spending a few $100s this month on it.
Yeah. I mean, I just created a campaign for a church for Christmas because of what you just said. So that, because people now are starting to, one, Google does have to learn, and two, people now are starting to plan their Christmas. So they are looking and searching, and it's just a really, I can't like say enough how much I think the Google grant is really cool for churches. And I don't know, I just hope if you don't have it, that you at least check it out and see if it's something for you. And even if you want to do it yourself, like, do it, because it's just a really cool resource for your church.
Yeah, truly. And I mean, shoot, even if you did only spend $100 a month forever, that's still $100 a month of free advertising from Google. I mean, you could definitely spend more, but that's $100 a month on Google that you're not having to spend out of your pocket. So there's really no reason not to do it. And I would say, if you want to do it and you're excited about it, and you're not, you haven't done the 501c3 thing, you go ahead and start that, because getting, the 501c3 status with the IRS, it's not hard, but it takes a long time, and there's paperwork. So you're going to have to go to an accountant or a tax person or an attorney and get them to do that. And that takes a minute. Believe it or not, the IRS is slow. And so, but again, all of that it is a lot of work. And I'm sure as a church staff member, it's like, oh yeah, great, I need another chore, because I'm just sitting around twiddling my thumbs. I get it. I was a youth pastor for 21 years. I know what it's like to work on church staff. You don't need a lot. You don't need anyone to give you anything else to do. But for $120,000 a year of free ads, like, it's worth it. It's worth the headache. And I would say, I would say do it. So anyway, that's all I've got to say about that. Any other tips? No, we're good. I think we covered it.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, thanks for watching. I hope that you found this helpful, and I hope that it's beneficial, and I hope that you will start take the first step in getting the grant for your church, because it is definitely worth it. If you already have the grant, or if you're in the process of getting the grant, you want to learn more about the grant, we'll be back next week with part 2 of this, talking about what you can do. And we're going to actually show you how to set up some ads once you have the Google Ad Grant. Or even if you don't have the Google Ad Grant, you want to do some and you want to pay out of pocket, it would be worth watching. So join us next week. We'll be publishing that on our social media. Follow us on, like us on Facebook, or follow us on Instagram, Faithworks Marketing. And yeah.
Shoot us any questions that you have. If you watch this and we didn't answer a question, or you want us to dig deeper into it, shoot us that question so that we can answer it.
Yeah, email us, hello@faithworksmarketing.com, and we'll be more than happy to point you in the right direction or give you any advice that we possibly can. So cool. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.